My best friend's sister is telling everyone I know that she's carrying my baby. I'm talking my mom and dad, her brother, and I. I never once touched this girl. She has a giant crush on me, and she's mad that I'm not into her, so she's making up this lie. Well, you know what? When the baby comes in just a few months, I'm going to get a DNA test and prove everyone wrong. What do you do if your parents refuse to believe you for something you didn't even do? I'm facing that dilemma right now. My parents have been giving me the cold shoulder for 3 days now. The only time they talk to me is when they want to yell at me, and to tell the truth, they're demanding I admit to what I'm being accused of, but I refuse to do that because, well, I didn't do it. Okay. I'm sure some of you who are reading this are like, what the hell? Well, let me just rewind a bit. I've always been a good son. As my parents' only child, they doted on me and always made me feel loved. They never had to worry about me getting in trouble because I was always a good kid. Good grades. Never did anything bad. Didn't get into fights or anything like that. Like I said, I was a good kid and a teenager. Even when I got into my teenage years, I didn't act out or curse out my parents. Seriously, I was as respectful as I always was. So that's why when they didn't believe me after I was accused of this heinous thing, I was so shocked to my core. I never gave them a reason not to believe me. Ever since I started school, I've always strived to get good grades. My parents make a lot of money and can afford my college tuition, but they said that they would not make that investment in education if I did not keep up my end of the bargain and get good grades. I took it seriously because even with scholarships, I was going to need them to pay for some of it. You know, since a lot of my time was spent studying, I didn't spend time together with a lot of people or make friends easily. Luckily, I had a best friend who was just like me, Caleb. Caleb lived about 2 blocks away from where I grew up. We met when his family moved to the town when he was about 8. From then on, we were best of friends. It was impossible to separate us, and in school, the two of us always spent time together. When we were out of school, the two of us always went over to each other's house, or I would stay over at his place, and he would stay at mine. It was like we became members of each other's family. And Caleb was the best friend anybody could have ever wanted. He also had a sister, Sabrina, who is 2 years younger than us. She's 16, and with us graduating in less than 3 months, we don't spend much time with her. But she's a nice girl. She's never been rude to me, and there were times I thought she had a crush on me, but I always brushed it off because I don't see her like that. To me, she's like a little sister. It would be weird to think of her in that way, and she just wasn't someone I thought of romantically. Besides, I usually tried to keep dating on the back burner. You know, of everything, school was my most important thing that I like to focus on. This was what was going to ensure that I would have a good career. Not that I did not get, well, crushes or anything like that. Oh, I did, but I didn't think much about it. They did not go beyond a crush. I think my entire life so far, I've only been on a few dates. My longest relationship has been about a month. That was back in junior year, and this girl in my math class, and I flirted with her, and she flirted with me, but it fizzled out a few months later. Again, if I think back, I think I can recall that Sabrina did act a little jealous during that. Whenever I mentioned that I was going on a date with Kayla, she would glare at us. She'd mutter something under her breath, but whenever I asked her about it, she just shrugged and said it didn't even matter. I suppose it was normal for her to have a crush on me. It was normal to get a crush on your brother's best friend. This never happened to me before, but like I said, I've seen it happen around other people that we know in school. Whatever Sabrina felt for me didn't matter. I thought of her as just a sister, and if she ever did confess to me, I decided that I would let her down gently. It just wasn't a relationship that I wanted to pursue. But she never said anything. She even started going on dates, something Caleb would tease her gently about. And you know, that was his younger sister. And as an older brother, he said, well, he had the right to tease her. And I was an only child, so I don't know how that worked. Then everything seemed to go to hell. It happened so quickly that I never had any warning, well, it was going to happen. I was coming from school at my normal time. Caleb had to stay after school for a club meeting, so we decided just hang out tomorrow. When I got home, I was surprised to not only see my parents sitting in the living room, but also Sabrina and Caleb's parents sitting there. You know, they were sitting across from my parents, grim looks on both of their faces. It was so weird because they looked like they had something serious to discuss with me. "What's going on?" I asked. "I'm telling you right now, I wanted to run out the door." There was no way I wanted to see what they had to say, but I had to go home eventually. When I sat down next to my parents, they decided to tell me that they knew the truth. Sabrina had come to tell them today and told them that she was pregnant. You want to know the shocking part? Oh, apparently I'm the father. You know, this is complete and utter bullshit. I've never slept with anyone, let alone with Sabrina. Not like I wanted to advertise it, but I haven't had any coitus. How could I impregnate her if I've never slept with anyone? I tell them it's simply not true. There's no way I could have gotten her pregnant because I've never done that. Plus, I didn't like her that way. She's a great girl, but I don't think of her like that. The look on their faces told me they didn't believe me. My heart sank because it didn't make sense. How could my parents not believe me? I said time and time again that I never did it, and again, that's not something I've done with anyone. It's embarrassing to even say this out loud, but I must make sure they know that I am not the father. My father tells me I must tell the truth. He says that they know I got Sabrina pregnant because she would not lie about something like that. I say I knew she had a crush on me. It might have been the reason that she said I did, but I didn't. There's no way I'm the kid's father. Then her parents start in. They tell me that they know I took advantage of her. Oh yeah, and got her pregnant. According to Sabrina, when she told me that she was pregnant, I decided I wanted nothing to do with her anymore. They were calling me a deadbeat father, but how could I be that when it wasn't my kid? This is pure insanity. I kept telling them that she's nothing more than a liar. All they must do is take a DNA test, and they'll see the truth. Mom shouts at me that I need to take responsibility, as any good man would, and Sabrina's parents shout that it's the least I can do after taking advantage of their precious baby girl. Nothing I say is getting through to them. All four of them won't listen to me. So you know, I just tell them one last time that the kid's not mine. If I did get a girl pregnant, then I wasn't going to just ditch her, or tell her I wouldn't be the dad. A kid at my age would not be something I wanted, but if it happened, I would not run away from my responsibilities. Of course, they kept screaming at me, telling me to just man up and admit what I've done, but I refused. See, I wasn't going to admit to something that simply wasn't true. Eventually, Sabrina's parents left, and it left me with my parents. My mother shouted at me to go up to my room. She said she could not stand to look at my face right now, and I shamed her for being a son. After that fight, I did not leave my room. I just stayed there until it was late. When I was sure they weren't in there, I went downstairs to get some food and went back up to my room. This is how I lived for the next 3 days. When I left for school, I hurried and left my house. I tried to avoid my parents as best as I possibly could, which wasn't that hard because they were avoiding me. I've been eating every meal in my room and just keeping to myself, and it stinks to be ignored by my parents in such a way. I don't know why they're doing this to me. Do they hate me or something? You think that they want to support their son no matter what, right? But no, they don't want to support me. They want to work against me for some reason. So guys, if you have any advice how to handle this, please, I'm begging you to let me know. I'm at a loss for words, and I want to talk to my parents, but what if they just keep ignoring me? There must be a way to prove I'm telling the truth. If you have any ideas, please leave a comment, please subscribe to the channel. Mom and Dad decided I need to be kicked out for what I've done. So, it's been just 3 days since my last post, and I was going to wait a while and take in all the advice. But then my parents came to me the day after I said the post, and my parents came to my door and said, I need to get out. Unless I can admit what I've done to Sabrina. I can't say, well, they're going to let me stay here. They won't have liars in their house apparently, because that's not what they raised. I reminded them that they did not raise a liar. I'm not lying, and I begged them to not kick me out because I'm telling the truth. Just give me a chance to prove it. But they wouldn't budge. They tell me to pack a bag and leave, and not come back until I'm ready to admit the truth and man up. I left the house and ended up calling my aunt, who lives in the same town, but about 5 minutes away by car. She tells me she can't believe my parents would do that to me. I only must wait a few minutes for her to pick me up. She tells me she's so sorry, and I can stay with her. And after I got settled, I did hear her ripping my parents a new one. My aunt is saying that they should believe me, and if they're afraid I'm not telling the truth, then they can wait until the baby's born and just simply do a DNA test. Until then, they should believe me. It's hard to believe my parents kicked me out, and I knew that they were mad, but I was hoping that they would be able to realize that they could trust me. They could always trust me. I've never given my parents a reason to not trust me. Why are they trusting this random girl over their own flesh and blood? It's crazy that this is my life. I'm graduating in less than 3 months, but now I'm essentially homeless. Okay, not really, but it feels like I am. It's great that my aunt is willing to take me in for the time being, and she said that I can stay here as long as need be. But in the meantime, she's going to try to talk some sense into my parents. I want to tell her to not even bother because I tried to, and they do not believe me. You know, what would they believe from my aunt if they wouldn't believe me? So yes, this is how things are going for me right now, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Well, for the time being, I don't need any advice. But if you want to just send me good thoughts or something and leave a comment, oh, that would be great. I'm just going to try to keep my head down and finish school. Then I'll go to college. The way it looks, my parents won't help me pay for it, but I'll figure out something to do. Webbait number 2. While at school, I get jumped by some of Jennifer's friends. My parents kicked me out 3 weeks ago. I've been staying with my aunt and just trying to get through each day. It's not easy because I want to go home, in my room. See, my parents have always been decent, and I don't know why they shifted so suddenly. When I asked my aunt, she said that she has no idea, but she tells me that it's going to be okay. She'll be with me and help me out with college. And I told her no, I don't want her to waste her money at all. At school, things are very weird. Sabrina spreads rumors that I got her pregnant, and I keep denying them, but people are torn. Caleb's ignoring me, and the only thing he said to me was that he was torn between the both of us, but he had to ignore me because his parents would cut him off. I can't believe my best friend is even doing this to me. I mean, how could he? But it makes sense that his loyalty lies with his sister. It's natural to want to be loyal to your flesh and blood. This is a concept my parents didn't get because they threw me under the bus, refusing to even believe me. School got worse the other day when I was about to leave for my aunt's house. 3 of Sabrina's friends jumped me, 2 guys and a girl. I was not weak, but they jumped me, catching me by surprise. Plus, 3 against 1 simply is not fair. The result is I have a lot of bruises and a black eye. I reported it to the principal on my aunt's insistence, and the second that she saw me when I got back, oh boy, she told me that she was going to get those kids in trouble. But I didn't want to pursue legal trouble at all. All I wanted to do was forget what happened. The principal suggested that my presence at school is angering people because of the rumor with Sabrina, so it might be better if I just finished school online. I'm so tired of this crap, so I said yes. Please don't be mad at me, but it had to be done. I didn't want to deal with all this crap, so I just decided to finish school at home. My aunt is supporting me, and it just seems like the best option. Still, I have not heard from my parents, and my aunt's still trying to get through to them, but I told her to just stop. She's wasting her breath trying to get them to come around, and until the baby's born and a DNA test can be done, they aren't going to believe it for some reason. I don't know how I'm going to feel about my parents at that point. I doubt I'll forgive them. The more time that passes, the angrier I get. If they came to me now and apologized, I would forget, but not now. I think that ship has sailed. What bait number 3? Well, the baby was born, and it's Asian, not white like me. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm sorry about the lack of updates, but I've been busy. First, I was trying to finish school and graduate after shifting to online school. Well, guess what? I'm a high school graduate. Then I started applying to colleges, trying to figure out who would accept me. I got accepted into a local 4-year college, which I got a partial scholarship for. I'll be living at home while paying for some things with the part-time job I got. You know, I'm starting a semester late because I wanted to try to save up as much money as I could. It's important not to have my aunt paying my way. She's done enough for me as it is. But boy, do I have a big update for you guys. Now that my schooling's going okay, the baby was born. Sabrina went into labor about 2 days ago, and it turns out the baby is Asian. There's no way I could be the father because I'm white. Both my parents are white, and whoever Sabrina was with is Asian. My parents have been trying to get a hold of me, wanting to apologize, but I've been ignoring them. They came to my aunt's house, begging to talk to me. She sent them away, saying that they have some nerve to show up here, asking to speak with me. Eventually, I did agree to meet them at the park. I wanted to be somewhere I wouldn't feel like I could be easily pressured into doing what they wanted. The moment they got there, they tell me that they're so sorry and want me to come home. Then they pull out a check and hand it to me. A check. The check is so I can pay for the rest of my schooling. I ask if I must come home to keep this check, but they say no, you don't. All they want is for me to just visit more and keep up a relationship with them. Well, I took the check but haven't done anything with it. It's just been sitting in my drawer. My parents keep asking if I've cashed it, and I say no. Right now, this semester is taken care of, so I said that I'm just going to keep the check. What do you think that I should do? There's no way I'm going to forgive them. But I know the second I tell them I'm not keeping up a relationship with them, they'll cancel the check. If you have any suggestions on what I can do, then please leave a comment below. I'm kind of at a loss for what to do now, so like I said, if you do have any suggestions, comment down below. I'll try to leave as many as I can and read everyone. The one thing I'm doing is, well, not giving my parents another chance. They're full of crap and are only doing this because they obviously want something. What bait number 4? My parents want me to come back home. I take their check as a peace offering and then cut off contact. Buckle up. My parents went ahead and invited me to dinner and I agreed to go. You know, before I could go, my aunt tells me that she heard from one of our family members that my dad was diagnosed with a serious illness. He's going to have to eventually go on disability and need help around the house. My aunt said that she has also heard that they were going to ask me to move back home. If I did not, then they would cancel the check. So, since I had this information already, I decided to deposit the check a few days before the dinner. It cleared and was clearly labeled a gift, so I won't face any pushback. They aren't going to be able to know that I cashed the check until I get to dinner. By then, it's going to be too late for me to threaten them about having to give the check back. So, I get to the dinner, and everything seems to be okay, until my parents mention that my father is very sick. They asked me if I'll move back in, and I ask about what they said at the park, that they would not make me move in. But they reminded me about the check, saying if I don't move in, I must give that check back. It's then that I laughed and tell them, oh no, the check is already cashed and cleared. The money is in my bank as we speak. My mother starts to cry, saying she'll report me for fraud, but I remind them that they wrote it as a gift. And I have proof through our text messages where they said it was a gift. They then start saying that it's cruel to abandon family in a time of need. Right? I reminded them that they did this exactly to me when they refused to believe that I did not get Sabrina pregnant. Yet, they kicked me out and refused to listen to reason. So, the last thing I said to them before I left the house was that I wanted nothing else to do with them. From here on out, I'm going to have no contact with my mom and dad. We're not going to have a relationship anymore. And it sucks that my father is sick, but it's clear that they only want me to come back home. Because something bad has happened to him. They want me to be there to take care of him, but I'm not. So, Don't worry about me giving in. I left the house, refusing to let them bully me. When I got back to my aunt's, I let her know about everything that happened. She said that it was insane my parents went to this level of guilt. So yes, that's where we're at right now. My parents and I are going to be out of contact. I'm going to focus on my school and work. And if my parents had just believed me in the first place, then this would have never happened. But it's far too late for that now.